Georgie, we're back.
We're back, and I'm not worried
Another
or
episode.
concerned. Not worried or
What
concerned.
do you mean? You said
Yeah, 7 out of 9.
7 out of 9.
Yeah,
You're at 3 out of 6.
we're at 3 out of 6.
So
But
there's no way you're getting 7 out of 9.
yeah, there's no 7 out of 9.
You
but
get
like
maximum. Who do you play?
Southampton. By the way, who just got fired their coach. So against us, they're gonna have like this.
They tied Arsenal.
Well, yeah, now they fired their coach, and now they're gonna be like the best team in the world.
Yep.
Because that's what usually happens.
Let's see. Hold on. I want to see because you said Arsenal had.
2 more games.
No, they don't. One of them's the EFL Cup.
Well, yeah, the
Against
City
Brighton.
game got canceled, didn't it?
Yeah, well, postponed, but that was
Yeah.
that was already postponed by then.
Was it?
Yeah, so they only play Wolves. That's the last one.
That was the last one.
Because they play Brighton for the EFL Cup, but they play Wolves, which is a good team to play right before the break because they're shambles right now. Wolves are absolute shambles.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How close is Arsenal getting to winning the Premier
Oh,
League?
it's still far off from winning the Premier League.
It's a 2-horse race.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean,
It is a 2-horse race now. It
it's-
is not
it's-
about the top 4 anymore. Listen,
with
we're
Arsenal, I
7,
don't know.
7 points ahead of third with a game in hand, I believe. So we could
but
be 10 points ahead of third.
That's nothing, though. 7 points is nothing.
13, 14 games in.
Just because
I'm just saying.
if City was 7 points ahead of anyone, I'd be like, okay, that's hard to, just because it's City. But Arsenal, like, they're playing great so far the first half of the season.
Yep.
But they don't have the experience.
Yeah,
that's
but they've
in
been
the-
playing great against top teams. They just beat Chelsea.
Yeah,
They just beat Chelsea.
Chelsea are in shambles themselves.
Chelsea aren't
They,
complete
they,
shambles.
they've won 1 game out of 6 now.
Yep, still. it's
Graham Potter's about to
one of the big 6.
Graham Potter's about to get fired before he even gets started.
Well, no, he did really well in the Champions League so far.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
what I'm saying is, how far are they from winning the league? This is still very far from winning the league because you're still fighting against Manchester City. You have 6 points against them alone.
yeah.
To win or lose, so that alone could be the
But
title
do you
decider.
think, for example, do you think City's going to run away with it, or do you think it's going to stay
No,
close? It's going to stay close
Yeah, it's gonna
all the
stay
way
close.
up till the end.
I think it's gonna stay close.
All right, so who do you? Okay, now updated predictions. Who
Okay.
wins the Premier League right now? By the way, you said Manchester City was not in the top 2. By the way,
I
Remember
know I
that?
said third. It's still possible.
Anyway,
I still think
anyway.
City are gonna finish third. I still don't think this is the best Man City.
You really think Manchester City is going to finish third?
You see,
You keep losing the plot.
I haven't lost the plot. I'm just sticking to my prediction.
We just started this podcast. They're going to be. They haven't shown any signs that they're going to be outside of the top 2.
No, they haven't.
So
But
then why are
that's-
they going to
that-
be? Why are they going to be?
Because that's my
outside of the
prediction.
top
I'm
2?
sticking to it. I'm still sticking to my prediction.
Manchester City is going to be top 2. If Arsenal continues to play the way that they are, and they will, I think Arsenal is actually going to continue to grind out results against the teams that they need to, and Manchester City is going to drop a few here and there. That's what I think.
The only reason why I'm not giving Arsenal the edge is the experience.
Yeah.
And I've
And
seen
Haaland?
this. I've seen Arsenal. That's not about Haaland.
Haaland.
I've seen Arsenal. This, like, not this same Arsenal, but I've seen Arsenal in previous years go up. By Christmas, they're up. Everything's perfect. And then in January, February, it starts to dip. The form
Not
starts
like
to dip.
this. Not
It's-
even close to like this.
Yeah, but
Not
like
even close.
times have changed, so we don't know if this is actually like legit or not. Like
We do. The way that they've been playing,
yes, the way
This
they've
is
been playing,
legit.
but they've
it
played.
doesn't get better.
They've played like, I'm not gonna say to this level, but they've played amazing before. And I mean, you have to play amazing to be up by Christmas on Christmas Day. You have to be amazing in the Premier League. Like Spurs have done really well in previous years, and they were fighting Leicester City. What was it, a few years ago?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just dropped off. Like it's
Yeah, but it's always been closer at the top. Like Arsenal, you get in to the break, to the World Cup break, with right now I think they're 13 games in, and they've lost 1 and drawn 1.
yeah.
Teams, I mean, it's not that's not how it's been in the past. When teams get into the top, they have like 2 or 3 games lost, one game lost, 2 games lost, two ties, 3 ties, and it's a lot closer amongst the top 4, which is why it's. I mean, when you're 7 points with a game in hand in front of third place going into the break this early in the season, they had the stats, right? They said like 89% of the people who were at the top.
And it's twice has been Arsenal who's been at the top.
They haven't been this far ahead of everyone.
But okay, let me ask you this: you played City twice, though. You haven't played them because you got postponed. You lose both those games, let's say. Now
we lose both of those games, we finish second in the league.
Yeah, but you're talking about 7 points.
Yeah.
From third.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but all of those teams though, that's what you forget. All of these teams are
Yeah,
dropping points.
Yeah, they're
And
gonna drop points.
continue to
Yeah.
drop points. We are going to drop points.
that's
If
your
we drop points against Manchester City, let's say we do lose those 2 games against Manchester City, we probably won't win the league. Man City will win the league. We'll still comfortably be in second. And what does it matter really when you go from second to fourth? Not that much.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't really matter.
other than they can say that we were runners up or whatever, but really you're going for Champions League football.
At that point, if you're not first,
But
it's whatever.
I don't think. Here's my bold prediction.
It's not bold. It's not bold anymore.
Prediction.
It's not bold anymore.
Arsenal wins the Prem with like 2 or 3 games
To go
in the Premier League.
Wow.
Yep.
So you're banking on Arsenal beating Man City.
All they have to do is win one of those games against Manchester City. Win one of those games against Manchester City, so that it evens out, and then don't drop points against teams that you shouldn't drop points against.
I don't know. I just don't think that.
Man City will.
I mean, it's just way too early to be.
That's what you said after week 3 or week 4 when we were on top.
Well, I'm saying this because it's Arsenal.
And now you're gonna keep saying it.
If it's any other team, I'm saying it's different.
When is it not too early? When is it? Okay, Arsenal probably are gonna win the Premier League for you.
Okay, this is the difference though. You just said it because they're close with Manchester City. So like when you're looking at it right now, even though Arsenal is ahead by a point, what was it? I don't know.
We're ahead by 2 points.
2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're ahead by 2 points right now, anybody looking at it would say Manchester City will win the league, just because of the experience.
That's not true.
Just because of the experience.
That is not true.
It is true
Because of the experience, but experience isn't everything when you're playing the way Arsenal's playing.
Yeah, but that's what. But then
Everybody's
you have the
giving
World
them praise.
Cup. That's was
The World Cup affects everyone, and I guarantee it'll probably affect Manchester City more than anybody else, besides Erling Haaland because he's not going.
I don't know.
All of Manchester City's squad is going to the World Cup, right?
But we talked about this before. It could be either a good thing or a bad. Like it just depends. What I'm saying is, once you take a break, this is what you've seen.
Everyone would rather take the break if you're talking about the chances of winning the Premier League. Everyone would prefer to take a break instead of going to the World Cup.
Whoa.
No. What I'm saying
Okay.
though is like if you said which one's a worse outcome, taking a break and being rusty, or going to the World Cup and risking getting injured, you'd say it's obviously safer to just not.
Well, if you're a player and you
know
get
what I
asked
mean?
to go to the World Cup, you're gonna go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But like people say, okay, well sometimes it's worse to not. Obviously, if you're gonna get asked to go to the World Cup, you go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All I'm saying though is that you're like, how does it affect the teams? Does it affect the teams more that they go to the World Cup and there's a risk of them getting injured, but the benefit is that they've been playing consistent football and they get back and they're fit? Or does it hurt them more that they don't go to the World Cup because they haven't been doing anything for a month as far as playing games?
Yeah, I agree with that. But what we've seen in the past is teams do really well, and then you go away for 2 weeks for international break, and you come back and they're a completely different team. So imagine what a whole month is going to do to like the teams.
Yeah.
So like that's something we've never seen before. So like in the past, you've seen Manchester City run away with the league the first 5-6 games, because always the first international break is like after like a few games, and then they come back and they draw a game, they lose a game, and then they get back up after some time. And then the same thing with Liverpool last year. They started off terrible the first few games, and then international break came back brand new, and then just went on a run. So it's like it just depends on what you're gonna get with certain teams.
I think it affects everyone. I think it affects everyone the same, and I think it actually will probably affect Manchester City more than it'll affect Arsenal. I think it's better for Arsenal. We're going to the top. We're going full of confidence. The guys go to the World Cup. Let's hope nobody gets injured. Obviously, there's going to be a couple players for every single team probably. But at the end of the day, Manchester City is probably affected the most because most of their players are going to the World Cup who are going to play a lot of minutes, and the chance of them getting more injuries is higher than Arsenal or any of some of the other teams in the Premier League who don't have as many players.
But if you were to ask all the players right now, obviously because it's a World Cup, everyone's like, yeah, I'm excited for the World Cup. But if you were to ask a team that's on top form, playing amazing right now, if you ask Arteta right now, he'd be like, I wish the World Cup wasn't now, because you're on such a good run. You're like, everything's in a routine. You're like, everything's going so well.
Right. You want it to continue.
You want to just continue as long as you can.
Yeah.
And now teams that are not doing well are like, this break needs to come as soon as possible, because this is our time to kind of just get away and figure shit out. So, I mean, you can look at it either
both
way.
ways. Yeah.
But I like when I look at it, I like Manchester City as of right now would be like favorites just because of the experience and who they've been.
Arsenal are going to win it. 2 or 3 games to go.
By the way, let me expose you real quick.
Go ahead.
I watched the second episode of this podcast.
This man's so salty. He's going back to the episode.
No, because I remember
try and
something you
catch
said.
me.
No.
What'd I say?
I said
You said.
Arsenal get Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, and who else did we talk about? It was 3 players and somebody else. And I said, I think you guys can be like really good this season.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, it's Arsenal. No, I don't know.
Well, here's why I said that.
You played it down.
No, here's why I said that.
Manfred, I was right. You're wrong. I was right.
Listen, you're reaching, first of all.
I'm not reaching. You know I'm right.
Here's why I said that. Because Arsenal in the past have spent a lot of money on players who are not elite level players. And so every time we do that, we get a squad that's pretty good, but not good enough.
Yeah.
While other teams are signing the best striker in the world, they're signing the best midfielder in the world, they're getting 1 or 2 signings that are like legit players. We're getting like Tomiyasu, who's okay, but he's a good player. Now he's been playing because Zinchenko's been hurt or whatever. Yeah. But he's not somebody that's going to be on a team that's going to win you the Premier League, or you don't think he is going to be on it like that. Gabriel Jesus, the reason he's coming from Manchester City is because he's not getting as much playing time as he wants. So that's why in my head I'm like, well, if he was really amazing, we would be getting the best striker from Manchester City, which we're never going to get because it would never come.
So you're pretty much saying I was right with my prediction that Arsenal's going to be really good this season.
If that's what you said, I don't remember.
Oh, I watched it.
I don't remember. I wasn't there.
I
don't remember. Listen, I don't remember. But however, I'm just saying they've surprised me because not necessarily because these players are playing well individually because we have better players. Yeah. Like it's not like Manchester City where Erling Haaland is just scoring goals. And they're playing well, yes, as a team, but still Arsenal are playing very, very well as a team. All of these players just somehow fit the puzzle very,
the balance.
Very well.
Even Zinchenko was out for so long, and
you can just tell without even looking, like their team dynamic is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I in my head right now, if you ask me who I would prefer to win the Premier League, Arsenal. Like I would want Arsenal to win over Manchester City.
Go on, the Gunners.
But if you ask me to be rational and be like, all right, like who do I actually think is going to? Manchester City, just because the experience and
I got a text message again from my boy Eddie, which we should do. We should do a segment on this podcast here for text messages, not text messages, but messages. So if anybody has some comments or any topics they want us to talk about or any questions or anything, go ahead and send us a DM through the Instagram or the Twitter. Both of them are at the NGW podcast,
or just comment on the YouTube,
video.
By the way, a few people
and we'll bring them
keep saying, I'm concerned. We're going to have some problems.
And keep saying Georgie's concerned, because he is concerned. Liverpool, they beat Tottenham, but they're shambles. Anyway, my boy Eddie said, it's a long text message, but he said, Arsenal press is spot on. Chelsea really, and he's a Chelsea fan, Chelsea really struggled to try and control the game. Historically, that press has worked versus Man City with Liverpool. With that being said, Man City is Man City and also have Haaland. Chelsea got in behind Arsenal a few times by playing in behind, and that can be deadly having the best forward going to goal. It's exciting to see what tactical adjustments will happen when they play. What sucks is we don't know what effect the World Cup will have. Next, Liverpool won but didn't look good, and to be honest, Tottenham isn't playing well. I feel Conte is stubborn in his tactics. Even with a poor start, Liverpool got lucky to get all 3 points. All the changes at Chelsea seem to finally be catching up. I'll admit, I'm worried. LOL. He's a Chelsea fan. You probably should be worried if you're a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, but it's normal.
Is it?
It is.
Is the transition finally catching up to them, the fact that they keep just sacking managers left and right? Is that finally catching up to them?
I don't think it's that. I think they finally have a manager who has a specific way of playing. All the other managers, you can say, like, everybody has their tactics. Everybody has their way of playing. But, like, Graham Potter is very, very stuck on a certain way. And if these players are not willing to adapt or he's not willing to change, like something's gonna give.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea just need to, if you brought him in, you need to trust this guy because look what he did for Brian. You just gotta think, if he did that at Brian, you can do that at Chelsea.
Right.
With the amount of money that you're gonna give,
like
in January and then coming up in the summer.
But that's not Chelsea. That's never been Chelsea.
Unless but
it's
the new owner. But a different owner. You bring in your own coach and you got to give him time. I
don't think Todd Bowley can be as bad as Abramovich.
No, I don't think so either.
I think he's got to give him a little bit of time.
He has to. He brought him in. He said, "That's my guy. I want him here."
But it hasn't just been the coaching change. They've gotten the backroom staff, the scouting department. He's brought in a bunch of different people from other clubs.
Everything is just, and these are not his players.
Which means he's thinking about the long-term process. If he's bringing the heads of recruitment and stuff like that, then that means he's thinking about the long-term process of where Chelsea can be in 5 to 10 years.
And the thing is with Chelsea, even if they miss out on the Champions League, it's not going to affect them as much. One, they're a team in London. Two, they have money. This doesn't like teams in London are not like the bigger teams in London are not as affected.
Yeah, but
as
when's the
other
last time?
teams.
When's the last time Chelsea didn't make it to the Champions League? Probably a long time ago.
Actually, I don't know. Wasn't it just recent?
No, I don't think so.
Wasn't it?
I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I just feel like Chelsea is always in the Champions League because they're always
Yeah.
at least top 4.
I just think he's gonna get enough time where he's gonna get 2 or 3 windows to bring in players, get rid of players. I mean, look what happened.
Is it a rebuild for Chelsea?
Yeah, it's a
You
rebuild.
think so?
Yeah, Graham Potter. You know, you're bringing a really good coach, and you got to give him time. It's not like you're bringing in a win now coach. You're bringing in a guy who like he hasn't won much. Like, what do you expect?
But the changes that he's made at the clubs to take him to where they're at. He won a lot in Sweden, but obviously you could say that was the fourth division, third division, or whatever.
Yeah, you're not like it's a huge difference. You're not talking about like you're bringing Carlo Ancelotti for half a season
Right.
to win you
Yeah.
whatever the remaining of the season. You're not talking about Thomas Tuchel coming in to win you the Champions League. You're not talking about like coaches that have been at the top and you're just bringing them in to see now like some results right away.
Conte at Tottenham.
Yeah, like
Same thing.
Like well, yeah. Speaking about Conte, like he's stubborn in his ways, and when Spurs were getting results early on in the season, I was like, oh yeah, it's working. But from the beginning, we both said it's just a negative way of playing, and he did it at Chelsea, and he's done it every club he's gone to for the first year or two or first year or so, and it works, and players are all in, but you can't keep like playing the same exact way, being like negative football. And fair enough, Spurs had injuries, like Son was out. What's his name came off the bench. He's coming back from an injury. Richarlison's out, so they have injuries. So it's not like they don't have any injuries. But I just think they're playing the negative way. Even in the Champions League, they're just like last second they beat Marseille to go into first place. Otherwise, they could have been knocked out.
Yeah.
So it's like
Tottenham. The thing is, Tottenham's starting to turn into a Chelsea. I feel because they've gone through a lot of managers in the last few years now. And Pochettino was there for a little bit of time. He got them to where they are now.
Pretty much, yeah. There's no real change.
Because before, if you think about probably 6 years ago, Tottenham wasn't one of the big 6. Tottenham was like 8th, somewhere around there. If you had to rank all the teams, they're probably around 8th. And then Pochettino started getting better and better, or started making the club better and better. And then they got to the Champions League final, and then they had they got close in the Premier League. So now I think they're holding everyone to those standards, which is fine, but they're starting to do that thing with Chelsea where it's like they're too stubborn to rebuild. They're too stubborn to say, okay, we're doing really, really well, but now we need to change things up and give the coach, the manager some time with new players. They're getting towards the end, I think, of their Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, like as those being their guys. I think it's getting to the time where they're going to have to start thinking about what's next. Do you think Harry Kane is going to stay at Tottenham?
I think if they don't get Champions League, he's out.
He's got to, right? He's been saying this, or not that he's been saying this, but he's been like committed to the cause for Tottenham because in his head he's been Champions League. But you got to think at some point he's got to say I want to win something because he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, I mean, where's he gonna go?
Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City.
Manchester City, Harry Kane, and Haaland up there. God,
why wouldn't they?
But okay, for example, I mean, Son's contract is up, I think, in the summer, so he's allowed to talk to clubs in January and sign. So I mean, at least that's what I think. I think that's the situation.
It's something like that.
So if he leaves on a free in the summer, you might as well sign him in January. Like if you don't like get something out of it.
Yeah, but a lot of those conversations, they're not 100% sure until the end whether the player wants to sign a new contract or not. They go back and forth with the contracts, and then by the point they figure out that they haven't agreed on a contract, they have to let him go on a free because they're not going to sign him.
That's just insane. Imagine Son leaving out on a free. He's like 27, 28. That's like
been a lot of players who have left on a free.
It's just insane. I mean,
I also don't understand why they wait so long because, like you said, why are you gonna? You can get millions of dollars off of him but it's about.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, what are the documentaries of like all of them getting text messages last second, like, oh, you leaving the club or doing this.
And a lot of the players, especially this year, aren't going to make a decision until after the World Cup.
Yeah,
like Messi said the same thing. Nothing's going to be decided until after the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a weird year, but I would agree with what Eddie said. Arsenal dominated Chelsea. like I said, they've won one game maybe out of the last 6. They under Graham Potter, and I think
And this was at home for Chelsea as well.
Yeah.
They were at Stamford Bridge, and Arsenal was like,
I mean, there's nothing. Like I can't say I'm like surprised by it just because Graham Potter's gonna need time. Like we talked about this like in the past few podcasts.
I guess I'm just surprised because it's Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big name, like big club, a lot of money, and like the history, history in the past 10 years, 15 years, they've been like one of the best. But it's Graham Potter. Like you didn't bring in a huge name to win something now. I feel like this is a longer term project, and it has to be. If you're bringing in a guy that's like fairly unknown, then you have to give him time.
Is this a Klopp Liverpool situation 5 years ago? How long has he been there? 5 years?
7.
7. Damn.
Yeah. But the difference with Klopp is though he won stuff with Borussia Dortmund, and he got to Champions League
what
finals.
I'm saying is that even Klopp
needed time. Even Pep needed time.
But Klopp wasn't a big name. Like he was a big name only because honestly he wasn't that big of a name.
No, he was.
He was a good coach. He was a good coach. Yeah. But it was similar to bringing a Graham Potter. Yes, it was because back then what had he done?
He won the Champions League with Borussia Dortmund. He won the Champions League. They never
won the Champions League.
Didn't he win the Champions League?
No, they lost in the final to
Twice.
Bayern Munich.
Twice they went to the Champions League final, and then he won the Bundesliga.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They won something.
He won the Bundesliga maybe once, but Bayern Munich has won it for like the last 8 seasons. So maybe it was like once, and then
I remember they won it, then they won the cup, and they
look it up. But I remember like
Klopp was a big name because I remember I was like, I knew Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Like I wanted this guy.
Yes, he was like Graham Potter, where everybody's like talking about Graham Potter, like this guy's legit. And then when he came to Liverpool, obviously he showed that he was legit. But he hadn't done much. It's not that he hadn't done much. He took a club that wasn't supposed to be where they were, and he took them to where they are now.
Yeah, but like
the second best club in.
You're talking about like going to a Champions League final twice or once, whatever he was. You're talking about winning the Bundesliga, and then Graham Potter's got Brian to 6th place. Like,
yeah, but
he was.
You're right. It's not. I'm not saying that they're like similar. What I'm saying more than anything else is that like we just talked about, they didn't bring in. Conte, or they didn't bring in like Ancelotti to say like just get us through the season, and then we'll sack you in a year or two or whatever.
I think like Graham Potter's job is safe as anybody else's. Like I don't think.
Let's see. He won the Bundesliga twice with Dortmund.
And
then he won. That was it. I mean, they won the Pokal.
Yeah, he did won
and then the
German
Super Cup, and then Champions League runner-up.
Oh, Super Cup. They won the Super Cup.
The DFL Super Cup.
Okay, the German League. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the Super Cup between Champions League and Europa League.
No,
so he went to the Champions League final and then lost.
Think about that, and you're like, and
that's pretty. To beat Bayern Munich, and that's.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that he wasn't like somebody who'd been winning Champions Leagues and all this other stuff.
But Borussia Dortmund was always good in the Champions League.
He just took a team that wasn't supposed to be as good as they were, and he made them much better.
Yeah, but like you're talking about winning the German.
I'm just saying. At the time that Liverpool appointed Klopp, there was at least 4 or 5 other big managers that were probably ahead of him as far as like the world's best managers. Now you put Klopp in the top 3 or 4 managers.
I agree with that.
You get what I'm saying? So like now, what I'm saying is that now is Graham Potter going to get 3 or 4 years at Chelsea, so that in 3 or 4 years they're going to be winning Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, 2 Premier Leagues in 3 years, that kind of stuff. Or are they just going to get desperate? You think Todd Bowley's going to say, I don't like this, and then he's going to...
I think he has 2 years. So that gives him this January, summer.
2 years unless what happens? Like, how bad does it have to be for them to sack him right away without giving him the 2 years?
I think within 2 years, you have to compete for Premier League.
Okay, so...
I don't think Champions League is going to be tougher just because he doesn't have as much experience in the Champions League.
If they get... Let's say they finish in 5th place this year.
Yeah, he's fine.
They're going to keep him?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they finish 6th, 7th, I think they keep him no matter what. If it gets bad, like they can't win a game, then they might right now they can barely win a game, but I'm talking about you're looking at like, let's say February. They would have played 10 more games from now. Let's say
but they still have the Champions League.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, I think he's going to stay no matter what.
Yeah,
I think it's a long.
I saw his stat. It was like the first player or the first coach to win his first 4 games in a row for Champions League or something like that.
Yeah.
Some stat about him doing well at the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope.
You hope they give him time.
Yeah, I like Graham Potter. I don't like Chelsea, but yeah. Eddie, why would you support Chelsea? What?
He's actually supported Chelsea for a long time.
The I hope before the Abramovich era.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
ever since I've known Eddie for a long time, and he's supported Chelsea for a long time.
Suffering.
Manchester United, big loss. Aston Villa.
Yeah. Well.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. I mean,
my boy Unai.
he's back. He's back.
I've supported my boy Unai Emery from the very beginning. Maybe I haven't supported. I made
No.
fun of him a little bit. I've made fun of him a little bit.
You
But
have.
what a legend that guy is, huh? Comes back, gets the first win against Manchester United since the longest time ever for Aston Villa, and does it with some serious style too.
Yeah.
Like that was a legit performance from Aston Villa.
It was really good. Obviously, Manchester United had like the last 10, 15 minutes in the first half, and they were like controlling the game and like pressuring. I thought actually they're going to score a few goals in that like 10 minutes or so. But I mean,
how much influence does Unai Emery have on that win? Do you think it's just like just because it's a new coach that they won,
Yeah,
or do you think he like came in and was like, all right, boom, 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 we're gonna do these changes?
New coach.
And all of a sudden-
New coach.
It's always more motivated because the players get a fresh start.
Yeah.
They gotta show what they can do.
Like just everything's just new. They gotta impress. Like you pretty much playing for your job now. Like
Yeah.
that's why in most cases, when a coach gets fired and one gets hired right away, the following game is like
Yeah,
they're
the first
one of
like the
best
first like 3 or 4 games after that
Yeah.
are usually pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty good results.
the honeymoon stage is over, and then it's all right, back to where you are. But I like Aston Villa a lot. I mean they spent some good money too. It's not like they didn't spend money. So they have some good players. I think they should be challenging for like top 8. Realistically, I think. Yeah, I mean Manchester United, Ronaldo's captain.
Good evening.
I don't know.
Ronaldo, your boy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
He's done well.
it's not like you can blame it on him. It's just
No. Manchester United, there's nothing to. I wouldn't say there's anything to worry about, even though they lost Aston Villa because they've been performing pretty well.
yeah,
They've been performing pretty well. Eventually, they're not a team like Manchester City or Arsenal right now where they're going to consistently be getting wins. They're going to drop some points, but he's done a fantastic job so far of getting them within the top 4.
So if they miss out on top 4,
let me look at the table right now so we can see exactly where everyone's at. But top 4 right now: Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, and Tottenham. And then Manchester United is 5th, Brighton 6th, Chelsea 7th, 8th is Liverpool.
what are the points? I
So
haven't looked
Arsenal 34, Man City 32, Newcastle 27, Tottenham 26, Manchester United 23. But Manchester United has a game in hand on Tottenham. So if they were to win that game, they'd be tight on points with Tottenham probably having a better goal differential. So they're close. They're close. They're like right there in
So
the top
Newcastle has 27, and Liverpool have what?
4. Liverpool have 19. Crazy.
Nah, that's not.
How crazy
that's
is
not
that?
that big of a difference to me. I'm not worried.
Bruv.
What's
Arsenal,
Spurs? What's Spurs?
Arsenal
Are
have
like
almost
18.
double the amount of points that you have.
Yeah, I mean that shouldn't be the case. But I'm talking about top 4.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal and Manchester City are running away with it right now because they both have a game in hand on the 3rd place, which is Newcastle. Newcastle has 14 games played already with 27 points. Man City and Arsenal is 34 points and Man City 32 with both only 13
Speaking
games.
of that podcast I told you I watched,
Which one?
the 2nd or 3rd episode, when I told you Newcastle made some good signings and they're going to be legit this season, and you said,
No, I didn't.
yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Don't make me pull it out.
You can pull it out.
I
I'm
will
just saying,
pull it.
They've done well.
They've done amazing.
They haven't made great signings, but they're getting there little by little. And to be where they're at right now, actually, is amazing considering.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
they
that's what I'm
haven't-
saying.
They haven't just completely said we're going to buy the best players that we can.
No, they haven't bought the best
buy.
players. They spend
They're
money.
building.
They spend decent amount of money, but they spend it on depth around like in all positions. First, they bought Chris Wood for like 25, 30 million, and he hasn't even like really seen. I know he scored over the weekend, but that's because Callum Wilson got injured, so he didn't play. And then I think they have one more injury, one of their forwards. So Isak is out, so he had to play 3rd string, and you're spending 30 million. So that's like smart on them to be buying players that are, obviously, would you say Chris Wood is 30 million? Probably not. But like,
I'll tell you who is 30 million at the moment. Almiron.
oh my God, what a guy!
He's been playing well, man.
What is it? 6 goals in a row.
I'm giving the MLS some Give the MLS some credit. Give the MLS some credit there.
I mean,
How many people do you think when Newcastle said we should get this guy who's playing in the MLS right now? How many people do you think said like, are you sure about that? Like the dude's playing in a Sunday league.
to be fair though, I liked him. I've been Almiron fan. Not like everyone was slacking because like when he would play for Newcastle a lot in the past few years. Ever since they signed him, he would play a decent amount, but he would never score. Like
Right.
he would never score.
Well, he's only been playing for what, like 2 years? This is like his second year, isn't it?
No, this is like
More than that?
yeah. I think it's fourth year, third or fourth year. So the first few years he didn't score much, and that's why a lot of the like I remember watching games where Newcastle fans were like, I don't want to say booing, but they were so like pissed off about the fact that he cannot finish. He can't like he would work
Now
hard.
he can.
Now he can, and look at
He's like 6 goals in his last 6 games or
Yeah.
something like that.
like it just keep working hard, and then Eddie Howe is
They
a
need
good
to bring
coach.
his boy, Joseph Martinez.
Martinez.
He's
Yeah,
they already said Atlanta United already said he's no longer going to be a part of their program.
yeah. I mean, he's after the ACL injury. He
People
kind
were
of
pissed in the comment section. By the way, I read that post. It was like they had a meeting with him and they told him that he's not in their long-term future, so he's done after this year. And people were talking about how disrespectful they are.
Mm.
And his last goal was a bicycle kick.
I mean, that is disrespectful, man. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But
Who knows what really happened in those meetings? But I mean, bring that guy over.
no, for what?
Almiron was doing that at the MLS.
Okay.
Comes over, you give him 2 years to adapt, and now he's one of the best players, and he's helping to get the team to top 4. Put him next to his buddy Joseph Martinez.
Why when you have Callum Wilson? Why when you have Isaac? Why when you have Chris Wood?
I don't know.
But
Speaking of the MLS, though, let's do a little detour here. The Philadelphia Union. First of all, your boy Gareth Bale
yeah,
gets the tying goal, and then somehow Philadelphia Union goes 1 for 4 penalties.
yeah.
They missed 3 penalties, which is terrible. You should probably never ever do that. However, did you see what the Philadelphia Union coach said before the game?
No,
That the MLS is going to be the best league in the world in 5 years. Your thoughts, George?
no chance. Whatever he's on, give me someone. That's why
Hey, he took him to the championship. Took him to the championship.
don't.
And then Gareth Bale showed up.
It doesn't. The thing is, as much as we want to talk about like MLS being like, don't get me wrong, it's a legit league. It's not like it's a terrible league.
Not like
but,
it was before.
but
It's
like
getting better.
it's getting better. But to beat the best or one of the best,
Yeah.
you're talking about like England, Spain, Italy,
France.
France. Like you're talking about all these leagues are just gonna disappear. Like they're like what's gonna happen? Like you look at Portugal. You have Porto, Benfica. These teams are doing amazing. Not to say their
Yeah.
league isn't like
Do you think the MLS is ever going to be one of the best leagues in the world?
no.
Top 3?
No.
Never. Ever?
I mean, you can say you can't say
it has
never.
to be. It has to be at
I
some
mean-
point. It's just like the United States national team has to at some point be the best national team in the world.
Well, yeah, that's what you
Because
hope for.
everyone comes here.
But that's what we've been talking about for the past 20 years. Like so much money is literally getting like MLS to join the MLS what 100 million, 300 million, whatever. Like to have
Yeah.
a team here. Like that's like you're talking about. Like
There's a lot of problems.
How much Newcastle cost? What? I don't even know how much they got about. Like what, 200 million? If that. You're talking about like just to get a team in the MLS, you're paying like 300 mil.
Yeah.
And you're talking about an established one of the best leagues in the world. You're buying a team for 200 million, and now they're probably worth like, I don't know, 5 times the amount.
I think that at some point it has to be. I think it's a long ways away, and it's not necessarily the talent that's going to be the issue, because I think you're going to have more people. Like if you ask Gareth Bale, and I know maybe he's not the best example, but if you ask him about his experience so far, I'm pretty sure he's going to say some good things about it.
Yeah, I play golf. I score goals. It's
Yeah.
easy. Yeah,
I think obviously he still comes at a time in his career where there was no higher up option, so he has to come down. But the league has gotten better. There's better players overall. They're starting to be able to attract European players before they are out of their prime. The issue isn't with that. I think the issue is with the consumer. Not enough people
care.
Not enough people are willing to pay the amount of money that's needed to fund all the stuff that's at the bottom part of the game, of the youth levels and stuff like that. But you got to think at some point the national team for the United States has to be the best one in the world because it's the biggest melting pot, and we have the best athletes. Now, maybe not the best athletes, but I think the resources that we have and the focus that we have on sports, other sports. You think about like football, you think about basketball, baseball. I think we're still probably one of the best ones. Like, at some point, if enough resources are going to soccer, you're gonna have the best national team.
We've been talking about this for so many years. I mean, at some point,
I
you
don't know what
think
it needs a lot, but at some point, it's got to be.
there's just no, to me, there's just no structure from the bottom up. You're talking about in the leagues here in Michigan, let's say, you start U6, you can play, I don't know, whatever. You play. And once you get to like U18 or U17, everything stops.
Well, you go to college.
You go to college.
Which is a problem because...
And then from going to college, now you're like, wait, like, do I even want to keep playing? Do I just rather study? Do I do this or this?
The thing is that it shouldn't really, if you were thinking about a better pathway, and a lot more players are starting to do this actually, is you play at the highest level clubs in the youth, right? And then after that, a lot of players go into college. That's the main goal. You play for the top level youth, and then you go into a college, you get your 4-year degree, and you play for legit top, one of the top Division I schools. And then after that, you try and get drafted. That's like that's the most normal pathway. Yeah. If you had to draw it out, that's the most normal pathway. It's not the best pathway because, one, college coaches are not like college coaches are not as good. Like a lot of them, you'd be surprised at how bad they actually are.
They're a win now. I don't care about your development.
Yeah, and a lot of them are just not like there's coaches, and this is no disrespect to some of them because I'm not trying to generalize, but there's coaches who started the program 25 years ago and are still coach. Regardless, they can lose all the games in the world, and they are still going to be the coach of that program. And then on top of that, you graduate at 23 years old, 22, 23 years old. 22, what was Ronaldo doing at 22, 23? What is Erling Haaland is how old? Well, Mbappe is not even 22, 23 years old, right?
Yeah. Mbappe's winning a World Cup, so people here are studying for their exam.
Exactly. So it's like, what I'm saying is that what a lot of kids are starting to do is that they just go through the youth clubs that are part of an MLS or USL championship club, and they just don't play in college.
Yeah.
So now you get people who are playing in the USL at 17 years old, or MLS players who are playing at 18 years old, and they're just like, why do I need to go to college? I'm essentially bypassing that whole part, and I'm going straight to the MLS and signing a contract with the MLS or the USL. And then after that, you see a lot of these young kids now who the European scouts are actually doing a good job because they're getting into all of our youth, all of the players who are 16, 17 who are killing it, and they're saying, okay, now come to Europe and we'll take it from here. And
the fact that it took this long for MLS to like find this structure, and it's not even like structured the best way possible yet. It's still like in the works pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and again, there's also the issues with the MLS versus the USL.
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth trying to fight with each other. And then NISA. And oh my word, I'm not even going to get into NISA. But the whole pyramid is not, it's not like going to England and there's a straightforward pathway.
Yeah, you know the pyramid. When you go to any other country, you know the pyramid. You know where
it makes,
here it's like, oh wait, I have this choice, Plus, people here, and it's not the kid's fault. It's not anybody's fault. But you have so much more other things to explore and do. Like when you're in England, like you live, you breathe, you go to games. Like this is like your passion. Every weekend, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to a away Liverpool game 4 hours away. I'm excited. Nobody's gonna say, oh, let me from Michigan. Oh, let me go to the Columbus Crew game or a Chicago Fire game or anything like that. There's no like that. Like you don't live it. Like you're not in it 24/7. Where in Europe, it's like that's 100% all the time. So that's the difference as well.
That's I was reading a book a long time ago, and I think I may have told you this already, but the reason, and we might have even spoken this on the podcast, but the reason why Jamaican track and field is the best is because if you take all of Jamaica, at some point, any kid who's grown up in Jamaica will run track and field.
I mean,
so think about that. Like in the United States, it's not the same. Like in England, it's the same thing. At any point in England and Brazil at any point when a kid grows up, he plays soccer, football.
Yeah.
So of course, when you do that and you get your entire 100% of your population, not 100%, but if you get 100% of your population to try the sport, you're going to find the best athletes from that country. And
Yeah.
typically that's going to be pretty good. That's why Iceland is also a little bit different, but Iceland's super small, but they're still legit
Yeah.
because they're pouring so much resources into their youth. They have some of the, I was also reading an article on Iceland, is like they're putting their best coaches at the youth levels.
Not at the bottom, but like a
Yeah.
lower like age.
But they have like
Yeah.
legit coaches, where here it's like soccer
Mhm.
dads, soccer moms, or whatever. But in the United States, going back to my original thought, in the United States, when you grow up, you have 5 or 6 sports before soccer,
Mm-hmm.
before you try soccer, before soccer is like presented as an option to you. So of course, like LeBron James, like you think of all these athletes. I'm just thinking, what would LeBron James look like in a soccer uniform in goal, wearing goalkeeper gloves?
Yeah.
And you think maybe that's not even and maybe he's a little too tall, right? But I'm just saying, when you have your fastest, best, strongest athletes playing different sports, we're only getting the little bits and pieces here that really we're getting 20% of the population of the United States trying to play soccer. And then you have to choose from that 20%.
That's why I don't think it's gonna be like so tough to make this like one for MLS to be one of the best. But I guess it doesn't really matter about, a lot of them don't even care. Like you said, when they go to college, they get drafted. First round pick or not, you get dropped pretty much most of the time. It's not like,
unless you're in like the first like 10, 15, you're not guaranteed a contract. And most of those guys,
even
again, they're too old. They're
Yeah.
23 years old. Why are they gonna invest more resources when they're like, we can just invest it in an 18-year-old and save those 5 years?
Yeah. So that's why it's very tough for me to see how MLS is gonna figure that out. But again, if you have the money, you can just bring in players from other countries. But with that being said, other players are making that money in those countries and they're playing in the best league. So why would they come to the MLS unless they just want to come here for a better life and retire?
There needs to be a bigger interest in the sport in the country for it to be the best sport. I think that's ultimately what it is. If there's more interest, if your average fan, instead of watching Monday Night Football, is watching Monday Night Soccer, right? If your average fan is doing that, there's no way that the sport doesn't grow to become one of the best. Because then people will pour money into it. People will pay more money into it. But until then, I don't think it's going to be good enough because there's not going to be enough money.
But it says a lot when you watch NBC or CBS when they do all these like watch parties and there's like thousands of people there. And then it makes you think like, wait, there's 1,000 people coming to watch people talk about the Premier League or the Champions League, but you can't find those 1,000 people in the stadiums watching the MLS games.
Yep.
And it's not like there's no right or wrong. It's just like, it just tells you the just no interest in MLS.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember
Like
2 years ago, I think it was New England, 3 years ago, what was it, Revolution, was it? They averaged like 2,000 people. And they're like 40,000 stadium.
Like Chicago Fire has been terrible. Their attendance has been terrible.
It's like,
and that was partly because of their stadium, and then they moved back, but now they're in a bigger stadium and they're not filling that stadium. Yeah, it's
like, it's just weird. Like,
it's bad.
I mean, I don't know.
Some of the teams have done well, like Seattle Sounders when they came in. Seattle Sounders always does well.
Timbers, right?
Timbers, yeah. So there's some that are definitely doing well, but it's not like you go watch the Premier League and those stadiums are sold out every single game,
All the time,
regardless of who they're playing. That's just what, like you said, that's just what people do. Here, people don't wake up. The average person does not wake up at 6 a.m. to watch Premier League. Like you and I will wake up at 6 and we'll watch 3-4 hours of games until we have to do something. But that's what we look forward to.
Yeah.
Even kids, right? Even kids here nowadays aren't watching as much, I think, as before. And I think that's a problem because like actual football or soccer players in this country are not watching as much. They show up to practice. I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. I don't want to get into that whole discussion. But I just don't see how in 20 years we can't be the best. We should be. If we're not, it's because we're not the best. It's because the average consumer still hasn't accepted that soccer is the best sport in the world.
Should, but I just don't. I just don't see. Maybe when the World Cup comes here in a few years, then we're gonna be like, oh wow, there's so much interest, and that's gonna like ignite people caring about it more. But
Anyway, your thoughts: Liverpool, Real Madrid, round of 16. GG's in the chat for Liverpool.
No, actually no.
Bro, you guys are out.
We play.
You're out.
We play better when we play against good teams.
Doesn't matter. You're out.
If we play Nottingham Forest in the
Do
Champions
you
League,
know who you're playing?
no,
You're not playing
Liverpool-
Manchester City.
look,
You're not playing PSG. You're not playing
Liverpool
Juventus.
got worse since the Champions League final a few months ago, and Madrid got a lot better since the Champions League final. So if you're looking at it on paper, you're picking Real Madrid. But good thing.
You're hoping. That's the problem.
But
you're
the
not
good-
saying you're not really thinking like.
But
oh,
the good thing is we're not looking at paper.
No, don't give me that.
We're gonna see on the
You're
field.
gonna get smacked.
No, the good thing is there's so much time until, so much time. Like, what is it? February?
Oh
You-
yeah, because that's until afterwards.
That it like.
You're
That's
still
not-
gonna get smacked.
I hope not. Like
Real
Liverpool make
Madrid.
2-3 signings, we're fine. In the January transfer though. If we don't, then
It would be crazy if Real Madrid loses in the round of 16.
it would be. I don't think that's happening.
Liverpool. Sorry,
I mean, that's just
you're
hope.
hoping. You're hoping, but you're not. You know it deep in your heart.
No, I believe.
When Liverpool gets out, Real Madrid smacks them, and Liverpool right, you're gonna be like, what's Real Madrid? It's Real Madrid.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, what am I gonna say? That's the only thing you can say. Real Madrid's the best
That's the
team.
toughest fixture. 'Cause I looked at all the other ones, and there's not another one that's that.
It's so annoying.
That's a final. Literally the final in. I
A
mean,
few months ago.
2 out of the like 2 out of the last 3 finals have been Liverpool, Real Madrid, right?
Yeah,
Now round of 16.
it's
They're trying to get it out of the way early, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what Man City get Leipzig. Come on, and then you have Club Brugge and Benfica or something.
Are you saying there's corruption?
There's
the
corruption,
Champions
yes.
League draw?
Oh, 100% there's corruption. Not
There
this.
has been some stories about corruption in the past draws. I don't know if it was for the Champions League, but I think it was like for FIFA.
No, I don't think there's not in this one. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but like the luck that Liverpool will get Real Madrid out of all the possible. To be fair, it was pretty tough because Liverpool finished
Somebody
second in
was
the
going
group.
to get them.
Well, Liverpool finished second in the group. A lot of Premier League teams finished first, so you only had like 3 choices. It was either Bayern Munich, PSG, or Real Madrid. I think for Liverpool, it was something weird, or Club Brugge. It was like one of those 4. So like the odds.
Yep.
I mean, that's the worst one of them all anyway. But like, I actually thought I had my money on Bayern Munich because they were like, wow, of course, Mane goes, Mane comes back. Originally, that's what I
They
thought.
can still play against each other.
Well, Bayern has to win against PSG,
Yep.
and then Liverpool will definitely beat Real Madrid. So yeah, they'll definitely play against each other.
It's a possibility. Sadio Mane scores a winner and then celebrates. At Anfield.
No chance.
Goes crazy.
No chance. This is one of these.
Kisses the crest. Kisses the Bayern Munich crest.
That would be insane. But I don't know. It's like the draw. Everybody's like going crazy over it now, like because the draw just happened this morning. But like all these games are still so far away. Like who knows what can happen in like 3 months?
Yeah.
Like it's just so far away that I'm not even like. That's the least of my worries. I'm worried about Southampton. That's
You should be worried about Southampton. Let's take a look at the upcoming fixtures for the. So there's one more. Yeah, there's one more. That's it.
yeah.
One more for everyone right now. Okay, Man City plays Brentford. Man City wins. Everton
Tie.
Maybe. Brentford's at the closer to the bottom though. Bournemouth plays Everton. Nobody cares. Liverpool, Southampton.
Everybody cares.
Southampton.
We're home?
Southampton either gets a draw or wins. You're at home, yeah.
Oh,
You're at home. It doesn't matter these days. The way
hey,
you've been
we
playing
just
does
won
not
away.
matter.
We just won away.
Nottingham Forest at home versus Crystal Palace. Tottenham at home versus Leeds. Leeds,
The comeback.
the comeback. If they beat Tottenham, Jesse Marsh. They were booing him at halftime, by the way, and then what a
Yeah.
comeback, huh?
Well, they've been booing him the past few
What a
games.
comeback. Yeah, I mean he hasn't had great results to be honest up until the last 2 games.
Yeah, of course, Liverpool.
But
has
he's
to
gotten
give
them out
them-
of the. I mean, here's what I was saying though. Like if you look at the table, because they were in the relegation, they're 12th now.
Yeah, it's like 6
And
points.
if they win their next game, they actually only move up to 11th.
Still, though, that's a big move.
But Liverpool is only 4 points ahead of Leeds. So it's like they might not be too far from the relegation still, but they're not too far off. I mean, 12th place for Leeds is not a bad place right now.
No, not at all.
If they win, let's say they beat Tottenham, they jump up to 11th place. Dude, 11th place is not bad all of a sudden when you were thinking
No.
a few weeks ago it was shambles.
Yeah, and they're calling Bielsa's name. They're singing his name, and
Yeah. Listen, Bielsa's a great guy. Again, way too stubborn. Way too
to
stubborn.
change his ways.
Yeah, to change. He's never going to change. He's too old to change his ways at this point. West Ham, Leicester, Newcastle, Chelsea. That'll be a good game.
That would be a good game.
And Newcastle's at home. If
Mm.
Newcastle beats Chelsea,
A comfortable win.
your boy's getting the sack.
Nah,
Sacked in? Yeah, he's not getting the sack, but
it's getting.
I would not want to be Graham Potter right now playing Newcastle away at Newcastle.
No, that's one of the worst places you can go to
Right
right
now.
now.
And Arsenal Wolves.
You guys are home.
No, we're away at Wolves.
Oh.
Does it matter, George? Does it matter the way we've been playing? And especially because we're playing Wolves, and they've been absolute shambles lately.
Just because of this, we're gonna have this conversation next week. Can you damn it, I jinxed Arsenal?
Maybe. But either way, I'm happy. You are worried.
I'm not
You're
worried.
very worried.
I was concerned before the Spurs game because if we would have lost that game, then I'm like, all right, now what are we doing? What are we doing here? But now it's like,
Problem is, you guys have been inconsistent. You win one, you lose two.
well,
You win
the problem
you lose
is,
two.
who do we beat? We beat Spurs away. We beat Manchester City. Was it away or home? I don't know.
I don't
It doesn't
remember.
really matter. And then we beat another big team. We beat Napoli, and then
Lost to Man U.
lost to Nottingham Forest in
Lost
Leeds.
to Nottingham Forest.
In Leeds at home. Like, so you asked me, am I worried about Real Madrid? No. If Nottingham Forest were in the Champions League quarterfinals, I'd be worried. Yeah, it's just like the bigger games, like they somewhat turn up, somewhat.
Somewhat?
Yeah.
This is what it's gotten to. They somewhat turn
Yeah.
up. Liverpool somewhat turn up.
This is the difference. But this, and
The
I
man
said
has
this.
lost it.
I said this. Liverpool cannot play against teams that just sit back. Teams that are trying to attack at times and like bigger teams. And that's why against
Teams
bigger
haven't been sitting back on them, though. They just have bad performances.
Well, they do sit back though. Liverpool, like against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool had like.
Oh, well, that's Nottingham Forest.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Small teams, like not small, but like lesser teams.
But not everyone's sitting back on you anymore. Everyone's just taking advantage of the fact that you guys are not in your best moments right now.
Yeah.
If you were in your best moments, people would be all sitting back and then
I'm
trying to find success. But
Don't ever. By the way, don't ever talk crap about Darwin Núñez.
all right,
Don't ever. Don't ever. Don't you ever.
another game he doesn't score a goal.
What do you mean another? He scored 7 in the last 8. What do you want him to do?
I don't know if
He
that
got
stat is correct.
he got an assist last night or yesterday. He should have had 2
Oh,
assists.
by the way,
actually.
I was gonna send you a message. He passed the ball to Salah in a position where Nunez or Salah would have taken the shot.
Yeah.
And he passed it to Salah, and
Yeah.
Salah scores.
Yeah.
And Salah, as soon as he scored, he looked over at Darwin Nunez. He's like, "You're my boy. We're
It
boys
happened.
now.
Same.
We just become best friends."
Same exact thing happened in the second half, and Salah passed it to Lloris. Starting to pass, but he's playing on the wing.
Yeah, you don't like that, huh?
No, I don't like that. Fair enough. First half he was amazing on the wing, absolutely destroying the right back. So I have no problem with that. He was just running in behind and
Yeah.
dribbling. He was doing really well.
He almost
But-
had a really good goal.
Yeah, in the first 10 minutes or so
Yeah.
when he volleyed it. But the thing is, that's not what I want him to do.
Oh, it's not what you want
No,
him to do.
I want him to be the 9.
You want him to be the greatest footballer of all time.
No,
He's
I want him-
not, George. He's
I
not.
want him to. Okay, what he did on the wing, and get those balls in behind. He can do the same exact thing in the middle and goal to goal. Right now, the club is at. I know we have injuries, like I know in the attacking places, but I want Darwin Núñez up top, and we don't have a left winger. That's the problem. That's the problem right now. So he has to play there. But Darwin Núñez.
I will get on the hype train when Liverpool is playing well and Nunez is playing well. Not when Nunez is playing pretty well and Liverpool is crap.
What?
I want Liverpool to be playing well and Nunez to be one of the reasons.
So you talking about 2023, 2024 when Liverpool finally wake up?
We'll see. But yeah, that's it. I think that's it for this week. Short and sharp for this podcast. But we'll come back next week. And next week, George, you're gonna admit that you're worried because you play. Who do you play?
Southampton.
Oh yeah, sorry, Southampton. And if you don't get results against Southampton, so if you get 3 out of 9 or 4 out of 9, you can kiss top 4 goodbye, my friend.
No.
You can kiss Premier League goodbye.
Yeah,
You
Premier
said
League.
that. You can kiss
Prem-
Premier
yeah.
League goodbye. Oh yeah, and then Brighton, Aston Villa, and then Fulham, Man United on Sunday. So that's it.
Anyone can beat
Cup,
anyone.
baby. World Cup.
World Cup.
You ready for that, Georgie?
No, man.
Are you ready for Mexico to win the World Cup?
This man's lost the plot. You have lost the plot.
Yeah, we're playing terribly. We might not even get out of the group stages right now, to be honest. We are not. I mean, United States and Canada are better than us right now in the CONCACAF.
Yeah, but World Cup comes, things change.
We can't even get out. I mean, we get out of the group stage, we can never get into the quarterfinals. We always lose in the. Is it the round of 16, right?
Yeah. So you were giving up before it even starts.
The 5th game. Can we make it to the 5th game?
You're giving up before the season. What 5th game?
Yeah, because they play 3 in the group stage,
and then the
4th game. So we play the 4th game, but we can never make it to the 5th game.
So you're saying
Always
season like you're just giving up on the World Cup?
Yes.
Before it even starts.
Yes.
Like even 2 weeks before it starts.
Mexico's got the worst team in a while. They don't have good enough players right now. We did really, really well when we started getting, like, when Chicharito was going to Europe, and we started getting a few more players in Europe, and now the players that are in Europe are now playing in the best teams, and some of them aren't even playing.
Alvarez is good though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Liverpool just played him. Ajax, yeah. He's legit.
He's good. Chucky Lozano is at Napoli, and he's playing. But, like, Raul Jimenez.
He's injured.
Yeah, I know. But,
so
Wolves is shambles.
Yeah. But is he even going to go to the World Cup?
Yeah,
he's hurt now.
He's one of our top strikers right now. They're begging Vela from the MLS. They're begging Vela to go.
He's legit, though. I like Carlos
He's
Vela.
legit, but if you're begging a guy from the MLS to come to the World Cup, you have some problems. We'll see. United States, I hope they do well. I'm not one of those guys that like doesn't cheer for the United States. I cheer for the United States so long as they're not playing Mexico. When they play Mexico, I'm a Mexican fan. Yeah. But when they're playing against any other team in the World Cup, I want us to do well because I actually think the United States doing well in the World Cup is good for everyone in the world. It's good for everyone in the world. It makes soccer/football so much better.
Do you know that if the United States when USA do get results, everyone's like, wow, this team drew to the US. Wow, they lost the US.
In Europe, sure. But I think overall it makes the sport better. I mean, why don't you want the world's best country to be playing well, to be doing well? It increases.
Because then once they become good, it's gonna be way harder to bring them down.
Yeah, but that's gonna take a long time.
Listen,
I want them to do well. I hope they do.
They have good players. It's not like they don't have good players.
Yeah, but I mean,
Girena, Pulisic, he's not even playing that much. I mean, I don't think
Pulisic isn't even playing.
No, he's not. They have the Flum.
He's not even going.
He's not?
I don't think he is. I mean, maybe he's on the short list. I didn't check, but he's never been. He's older, and he's never been considered for the world.
What about the Leeds? These guys?
I don't think.
The
Leeds guys will. Yeah, they'll probably go.
Yeah. I like Tyler Adams.
And Aronson or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, in the next, probably the next 2 weeks, we'll know what the rosters are going down to, or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Today's what?
We're got to be close, man. This is World Cup month.
Well, in 2 weeks it starts.
Yeah.
Wow.
But everybody still just had their 55-man list or whatever.
That's crazy.
So we'll know very soon.
I'm not happy about
I do hope the United States does well. I hope Mexico does well. I hope everybody else sucks. But that's it. That's where we'll end the podcast for today. Again, if you guys have any questions, topics, or anything, feel free to leave. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave it in the comment section. If you're on Spotify, you can't really comment on Spotify, can you?
I don't think so.
No, but just go through the social media channels, Instagram and Twitter, at the NGW Podcast. And we will, my boy Eddie texts me every week. I read his text messages on the podcast.
So you're saying we should get a phone just specifically
get a phone
for
number
this.
For the
and
podcast.
Then
you can send us a text message.
That would be pretty dope, actually. Well,
in the future, we need to grow a
one
little
day.
bit.
One day.
All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.